Hello and welcome to anyone who dares witness Salforis master Snowboard Kids! A kart racer with the theme of, well, snowboarding. Snowboard kids, come on now. You got the laps, you got items to slap the kids around, you have an oddly, really small cast of characters, unfortunately. Which, oddly enough, your decision will be based on whose nose makes you say, oh, I wish my boyfriend had that. And here's Tommy's nose for reference. Now, the only major difference between this and any other kart racer is that you can earn coins and buy better boards. And buy better boards is just slightly better. It's barely noticeable, but they are necessary to beat the last races in the game. So there's that. Now, while I was mastering this game, I was not actually recording what I was doing and was actually playing on my little device here, the Odin 2. And at the time, I did not have a way to record my footage. So I'm going to have to call for my Trust Me Bro. And I have the proof right here. You can see my little icon there, Mr. Angry Me, their face, and right there it's got a point over here. It says it's mastered, and the list of achievements are right here. They're all gone, every single one of them. So I have played the game, and I will be talking about the fun I had with some of these frustrations, though this wasn't too terribly bad to do, but hey, you know what? Sorry, and I hope to not have this problem in the future. And with that being said, let's get on to the game and how I whooped its ass. Let's go. In this game, there are 25 achievements. There is 9 for each race, and just completing them normally. Well, actually, you can't use the special character Shinobin or any of the special boards to have an advantage. There is 7 playing the side games that are actually rather fun, and then there's 9 more for doing the races in a time attack with a specific board on each of the 9 courses. Essentially playing the game with everything it has to offer, and want them in a special way to spice up the achievement just a little bit, which is the ice board, which we'll get to that later. It's simple, straightforward, and in some cases very frustrating. Let's start with play the game idiot achievements, which is essentially just beating it, and that is going through all the races, as I mentioned before. And Rookie Mountain, Big Sandman, Sunset Rock, Night Highway. They're pretty much the warm-up ones. Beat them first try. No big deal. That's just how I roll. Then there's Grass Valley and Dizzyland, which is about medium difficulty, and the ones you'll be seeing me play in the background, and the nice little shocking event that happens in Grass Valley as I was editing this. You definitely need to require to at least level up to the second board to be able to beat this without too much trouble. But things start to get really weird once you get to that point, and you start really noticing that you cannot let anyone get a huge gap in first place while you're doing these races. It is absolutely crucial that you do not let this happen. And this point becomes more and more important as you get to the harder difficulties, which is Quicksand Valley and Silver Mountain, where not only do you have to worry about first place getting too much of a gap, you have to deal with a lot harder course where there's in one of them one turn that you can barely even do no matter what you do. Then you have to have a fan for it, and for some strange reason I'm a sucker for going down that path anyway, so that kind of cripples me, because there's a huge shortcut and it comes with a huge downside as well. Don't recommend going down it till you have a fan or are able to handle that turn. Now, I have not done these again to record them because they are surprisingly more difficult and take quite a bit amount of time. but they're also nothing really special. It's just a matter of actually, grinding it out till you actually beat the race in first place. And I'm not too worried about that. There's not much to say here, but I will talk about the very last one, which is hell in terms of trying to win that race, because you get the special character that you have to unlock, and you unlock him by beating this. He is a menace on the snowboard, man. And yeah, let's go into a little more detail about that. Now, Ninja Land. Now that's where the problems come in, and I've started here about lap 3 to show you just how ridiculous it can really start to be. Because in this map they have added the secret unlockable character that you get unlocked by beating this very race itself, and it really goes to show just how overpowered he is. His stats are ridiculous, and you really have to focus on him and him alone during this entire race. If he gets any amount of lead, you are not catching up unless you do very, very specific things. When he is at front, he gets the invisibility item very often, so pans only work if you do them almost pretty much back to back. Ghosts almost pretty much keep him on the same speed as you are, and it is so much to keep him behind, because if you want to play catch up, you have to time your ghosts and your pans to be able to catch him. And if you ever get a rock, you have to kind of memorize his entire course, because he runs through the course exactly the same way every time, and you have to really know where to place the rocks, because he'll hit them every time if you put him in the very specific spots that he happens to go through. Hell, even on the example you can see right now, he is double ghosted, and you still do not come even close to catching him because he is just fast. And what ends up happening once there's a good bit of gap between second and first, second and third place are going to fight each other, constantly hit each other with the slaps, the umbrellas, the snowmans, and all that. And you just end up slowing each other down, while the person in first is just gaining more gap and making it more and more impossible to even reach. So to get that last retro achievement through the races, you have to be steering just perfect, just going through the course perfect. You have to be hitting all the pans and making sure you're keeping up with him kind of in second place, so you don't get those ghosts, and just pile on through for the whole 9 laps, which is ridiculous. But then again, it's very short, but that's what allows him to get such an advantage, because usually by the time you have the opportunity to hit him, he's like on the ski lift and not able to be hit, or time is being wasted on the ghost, or he'll have the invisibility when you throw out a pan anyways, and it's just you just get nowhere. After a few good attempts, going through this in the double digits, probably 30, 40, probably finally able to beat him, and it was just absolutely ridiculous. And when you go and do this, just focus on Shinobin, otherwise you're not going to get this achievement. And now we go on to the next set of achievements that require going through all the courses once more. But this time we will go through the course with only the walls to steer us through it. We have to use the ice board, which gives no control, and you have to do it in the fastest lap that is available on the high score of the game itself, which makes for doing the whole thing a lot more interesting. And if you actually understand the mechanics of how the game works, it's not really that much difficult. And let's go through the mechanics of it. You can actually make smaller turns by rapidly tapping the turn instead of like holding it down, since you will actually gradually turn once you stop turning the board itself, because the mechanics of the ice board is a lot different than the normal boards. B, you don't actually technically impact against the wall if you hit it with the back end of the board, which won't make you completely stop when you are forced in a situation to actually hit a wall, and that helps greatly when you're doing this in a timely fashion. And C, the fan actually will force you to turn, and it is absolutely important in some levels in certain specific locations so you don't fall off the map and you can actually are able to not lose. Rookie Mountain is straightforward and easy, just get it done, wham bam. The only thing I would recommend here is to use the fan at one of the 2 turns that you have to do here. Big Snowman is next, and this one is pretty much straightforward, like literally there are a few turns, but the specific one I would pick would be the one right after all the little forest there, because you don't want to hit those trees while trying to like use the wall to steer. Other than that, just straightforward shot, just use it there. Next on the list is Sunset Rock. This one is still relatively easy, but the difficulty does increase a little bit. When it comes to the fan, I highly recommend using it at the part where there's big rocks and little rocks, the ones that you can trip over, so you have more control while going through that and not accidentally, running into a rock, any of the rocks at all. And then right after that is pretty much the win. Night Highway is next on the list, and this one is really a no-brainer when it comes to the fan. There is a little snake-like thing where you can fall off either end, and I highly recommend hanging in there for as long as you can and then using the fan on the final turn, which is pretty much impossible on the ice board. Once you do that, just do things as normal. Make sure you turn the board where you hit the back of it against the wall instead of the front, and then you will be alright. Just there's another pitfall area, but easy enough, and you should get this one as well. Alright, next on the list is Grass Valley, and this one was a major doozy for me. I've tried using the fan down, either shortcut that's available in here, whether it's that first left turn, and most of the time that ended up in failure because there were 2 places where you can fall off the fan without the fan, and the fan is not long enough to reach both spots, so you usually end up just falling off. After failing many times there, I've decided to stop right there and then take that second shortcut way down the line, and just use the fan to go down there, and did many times, not getting anywhere near close to getting the right amount of time, and then after a while realized I didn't need to take any shortcuts. Just take the whole course the way you're supposed to take it, and use the fan on the uphill part. There's a part where it's kind of going uphill more than anything else. Just use it there, and it's fine and dandy. It took me way too long to figure that out. After a few tries of testing it out, just doing a normal course of run, I finally got it, and by God, I got it by the skin of my teeth. Just look at that. 0.24 seconds. Nope, 1.4. Next up is Dizzyland, a course with 3 spots of interest. First, you'll go run into this cave and run into this turn. The fan is absolutely necessary. There is no way to make this turn without falling off completely. Then right after the fan goes, you'll go full speed into the spinning cup section, which is best to hug on the left side of the fence and around the entirety of them. Otherwise, you're going to fail because there's no way to maneuver around the cups at all. The last point of interest in this course is the river, and you have to be really on the ball when turning the board, because that river will make you maintain pretty much full speed throughout the entire thing, and you have to make sure that you do not hit it the wrong way. Otherwise it's pretty much a failure, because even hitting it on this point will cause you to fail, and then it's a breeze after that. Next up is Quicksand Valley, and this one's quite a doozy because there are sharp turns everywhere, and you really have to be on point with every single turn to make sure you don't slam into it by, making sure the back of the board is hitting every single turn. This course has several forks that branch off, and I always go right on each of them. The first one is overall simpler to maneuver, and the second one leads to a really strong shortcut, but also it requires a fan. Even a board that turns normally, you will fall off of this turn anyways. Thankfully, you get a fan anyways during this mode, and you can do this very easily anyways. So, it's always the best option. And then right after that, you have a very sharp incline where you have to make a really sharp turn. And that one's very easy since you see it from a mile ahead. And once you get rolling down this course, it is a very easy grab. So just practice the course a little bit and get used to the whole board turning thing, and then you'll have it simply. This one isn't thankfully too difficult. No course to figure out or anything. Next up, Silver Mountain. Silent Hill has certainly grown up since the last I've seen it. The fog will make this one quite annoying if you're one with memory issues. There are some really sharp turns and a lot less response time for them. Thankfully, no required locations for the fan. It's potentially really good at the end since there's a lot of sharp turns and it really starts to level out that you really grind to a halt, and the fan seems almost necessary there. This course also has a couple of nasty little jumps that you have to be mindful of. The first jump being down this long valley followed by a fence. Then you have to actually jump, otherwise you're not going to make it. And all while you're in the air, turn to the right, because there's the fence that you're going to collide to no matter what. So you always have to pay attention to this jump. The next jump is less difficult, but you have to remember to turn sharply to the right as you fall. There is a turn as soon as you land, and if you're not prepped with the back of the board ready to hit that wall, you're going to make a collision and you're going to fail at getting the achievement this run. This jump happens to be where the Yeti is. Right after you pass the Yeti and you see all those tracks, this is the jump that you have to worry about. Not long after that is where I would recommend using the fan. There's a large open valley where there's really nothing happening, and you want to kind of stick to the left while you use the fan, so you kind of like avoid doing this really long wide turn, which will take extra seconds. Not to mention the fact that you can go just straight, which allows you to go at full speed the entire time, and that makes it even better. When the fan starts to wear off, you'll come to the jump that you have to, again, immediately turn sharp left or you'll be hitting the wall. And after this is really kind of like a snake path. You have to constantly make sharp turns, and you have to be really on your toes to make sure you don't collide with any of the walls. It also starts to get really intense near the end of the course, simply because it starts to level out and you're not going as fast as you hope, and you can see that little time there and you're just like, oh god, oh god, oh god, can I make it, can I make it? And you're just like stressed out the entire time hoping you will make it. And then you do. And you cheer as you get the achievement. And for the last one is Ninja Land, which is super easy and quick. Considering it's only one really sharp turn, and if you want you can use a fan there. There's a really good spot where you can just do a really straight line and just take advantage of it. Past that, all you really have to do is just don't hit a wall, and you've got it. And well, there's nothing much to be said. Here's the entire course in like 22 seconds. As you can see right here, it's quite the breeze. And wha-bam. And that concludes the time attack ones on the ice board, and now we move on to the subcategory of this game where you get to play the game in a different way, and it's kind of actually fun or very stressful if you're trying to get the achievement. Let's start off with the speed game. All you have to do here on this one is hit all the fans as you go down. You have to hit every single one to get the achievement and hit the time limit. Now with these achievements, there isn't much going on here. All you have to do is just hit all the fans. And the only real problem with this one is just either you overcorrect and steered and you miss the fan, or like in Sunset Rock, you can easily miss that pole and then completely miss the fan because of it, because if you don't ride the pole, you can't get it. There isn't really much to say here other than just say keep at it till you're done. They really are just straight and simple. The only problem is just guiding the snowboarder along. Now let's go on to the trick game. This one is really simple, and there's only one course, and it's its own unique course and to its own thing. And it has a half pipe that you start off pretty much immediately. You have to take full advantage of, and you will go back and forth, and you have to time your jumps while you're doing this. Otherwise, you're not going to make it to where you can do the tricks over and over and over again. But essentially, you're going to set your muscle to be automatic in terms of doing the same trick over and over and over again, because that's what you need to succeed on this, which really isn't the hard part. All you have to do is just keep going and you'll be fine. If you make a couple mistakes and don't do a trick, just grab the board at the very least and get that counter to go up a little bit more. I say about 55 seconds you want to start headed towards the end of the map, because otherwise you won't make it in time. Now
it looks like when you start heading down you won't have enough points, but at the very end there is a pipe and you have to hit it because it will double your points. And strangely enough, there's a weird little gimmick. I have not figured out how it works, but you can get like 2 tricks off of it, so you can quadruple your score, and you kind of need to do so, otherwise you're not going to succeed, and it's kind of a little bit very annoying. And hopefully you do it in your first try when you get down there. There, I just showed you when it's successful, and here, show you when it's not. And now for the main event, the skill shot game. And dear God, this one was absolutely frustrating, and unfortunately I do not have footage or care for the patience to do this again, but I did do it enough to show the hard parts, at least the really hard part of one of these, and this one is just sheer madness. So what's going on is that you're going down one of the courses that you've already done through the races, and then you have to destroy all the snowmen that are placed all throughout the course. And you have like 10 shots that you can have anywhere up on the course at any one time, and you can't shoot again until they start disappearing. And as you're about to see, the nightmare that is this spot right here, where you essentially have to hit the wall so you have a chance of hitting all of them, because there's no possible way you can hit all of these in one go. And then you, in desperate attempts, you go and start trying to do this stunt right here, go and turn around constantly hoping you hit them, because you don't want to do this again because it's very difficult, and you're just happy that you hit like 8 out of 10 of the bowling pins, and then you suddenly hit them, which by the way, very, very low chance of working out anyways. But you got this going on, and then after like 20 tries you finally actually get them all down, and then you go down the rest of the course, and then it's actually still rather difficult to hit all of the snowmen, and you gotta pray that you don't miss, and pray to God that you don't, because the sheer frustration of missing a single snowman on the way down, like right here in this attempt, is an absolute nightmare. And then you start over, where it takes like 10-15 more tries to actually succeed on getting that bowling alley that you have going on here of snowmen, and it's just like, no! Now there is something really interesting I do want to point out, and with this character Jam right here, he actually has a crosshair, and it is the very tip of that hat that's sticking up the farthest up, and you can actually use that to aim. Not that though when you're trying to be precise, he constantly wobbles his head, and that makes it a little more difficult, so it doesn't even help that much anyways. Thankfully, only 2 out of the 3 courses are rather paying for this skill game. And by the way, as you can see with that achievement, that is a false flag. That is not the correct achievement. That must have been a previous one before revision. So don't get fooled that you actually did it because you have to hit all of them in the course. I do want to note that out there. I will point out the troublesome spots in this course. The second one on this one being this little bit right here, where there's kind of a little jagged line of snowmen, which can be a little annoying to hit all of them of. And of course the bowling alley, which I showed in Desperate and successfully doing it once. And then, if I were doing this seriously on that attempt, I would be frustrated right now. On Sunset Rock, there is 2 places where this is absolute trouble, and that's pretty much the very beginning, where you have to like navigate through the rocks, and then you go down this turn, and then these snowmen are awkwardly placed here, where you can't really hit them from a distance too easily. You just kind of have to spray and pray. And then these line up 5 snowmen right here. The way you have to line up to get them all hit is just difficult, because you need to hit those 2 earlier spot on, and then go to take this on to kind of move in this straight line kind of thing, and that is a nightmare within itself, and will take quite a bit of tries. And then after that, it's not too terribly bad, but there's this one part where you have the pole, and then there's the water that will be showing up, and here you can see me just like, I've managed to get stuck here so I can hit them all at just do a wave of spray and hope I hit them all. I think I eventually give up anyways, or maybe I did hit them. And then you eventually get down to this one point. It's actually a little bit further ahead. Let me skip to this spot where you get to this turn, and then you see this spot where there's a pole and the water, and they're split, and you can't really get to a position where you can get them all. I managed to get stuck here, and pray you do that as well. Trust me, when it comes cheesing these achievements right here, you know what? Go for it. If you have the opportunity and it goes in your favor, take it, because this is a nightmare. So take the opportunities that you can, because man, they're no fun. But if you manage to get both of those sections there, pretty much it's pretty straightforward. Just pray you don't make simple mistakes, and do not hesitate to run into a wall or the snowmen themselves just to slow down. You want to pick the slow character that has the best steering, and the walls are your friend. Just trip over rocks, do whatever, slow down so you have a better chance at hitting everything. That is my advice for that. And then eventually cue the epic music, roll the footage that I wish I had, and then with this crazy ending, finally get the final achievement, and all is good as I finally master Snowboard Kids!
Whoa, hey, whoa. I didn't expect to see you here. I didn't expect anyone to make it to the end of the video like this. Well, since you're here, why don't you hit like and subscribe, and maybe give me a "you suck" or something, to show that, someone made it here. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed my journey through Snowboard Kids, and stick around and you'll see more games as I master and hopefully climb the ladder that is the retro achievements. Thank you and goodbye.